Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 3rd, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. We have BC, Washington, Oregon, California. Check out our next storm system. What a gorgeous one it is on the infrared satellite imagery. And look at this fetch of moisture that's all the way back towards the subtropics. It's going to bring some gusty winds with it, some heavy precipitation. We'll dive into those details as we go through the video here today. And now taking a look at the windy app, and you can clearly see the wind field on that storm. I clicked on the bent back occlusion there, 67-mile-per-hour gusts currently. We're not going to see anything like that into the interior areas, but we could get some gusts up over 50 miles per hour along the coastline, and especially across the northern portions of Vancouver Island and western BC. Now, taking a look at yesterday, pretty blustery day out there, and I was down among the big buildings there in downtown Seattle, and we're getting gusts probably around 45 miles per hour. The UW was probably the winner there at 46 locally, West Point 41, SeaTac officially at 32, had 33 at my house there in Normandy Park as well. Check out some other areas. We did have some morning gusts out there across Hoquiam, 60. You can see some of the coastal areas up over 40 miles per hour as well. Some of the higher terrain, 50 plus. Astoria at 59 there, and Cape Disappointment at 52. So yeah, nice windy day rolling across the area yesterday. I'll put my video here at the end, and you can see those gusty winds across the Seattle metro area. And this is for Missoula, Montana. Mountain pass snow. Heads up as we go on in through the early next week. It does include I-90 here, Highway 12, 93 and 2, so we'll be paying more attention to this over the next couple of days as well. And if you want a nice affordable home weather station, record all this crazy weather we get here across Pacific Northwest, it's much more fun to watch a storm roll in when you get to look at a weather station at your house. Now, taking a look at what's coming here, this is the NAM 3KM. This is hot off the presses, the 12Z run. Put this into motion. You can see some of these winds kicking up as we go through this afternoon for some of the coastal areas here, and you can see probably getting 50 plus gusts up and down the Washington, Oregon coast for some areas here, including Cape Disappointment, maybe Ocean Shores out there. And you'll see some of these bigger gusts get in towards the Puget Sound as well, maybe the Willamette Valley, upper 30s towards 40 miles per hour. Over the northwest portions of Seattle, maybe Whidbey Island, you could be getting some 45 plus, maybe 50 plus out over some of the open water there as well. And look at the Strait of Georgia with that southeast wind ripping through there. You could get some mid 50s also, and some of the higher terrain big gusts incoming here with this next storm. But yeah, you can see Seattle topping out at 41. I mean, it only got to 38 at Boeing Field yesterday. It was a pretty blustery day. So expect similar conditions out there, and it shows Tacoma and Olympia gusting into the lower 40s as well. It can cause some nuisance power outages and some small branch tree damage and whatnot, or bring down some of those dead trees out there as well. So heads up for that. This is looking at the NAM 3KM and the 80-meter wind speeds. We're going to take a look at the direction coming up here. So you can see the storm approach and the southeasterly winds ahead of it, and you can see them start to come across some of the open waters here across the northwest portion of the San Juan's, Whidbey Island there, Strait of Georgia. You can see some of these easterly winds really get going across the higher terrain as well as the storm approaches. And then when things get a little bit more southerly as the frontal system approaches, you can see the bigger winds coming through Seattle tomorrow morning, coastal areas as well, and that's going to continue on into the day tomorrow. You can see by the time you get towards the noon or early afternoon hour, pretty blustery conditions across a lot of the Puget Sound. And of course, when you go over the open waters here or a little bit further north, looks like it's going to be a bit stronger here also. So yeah, pretty blustery, strong system rolling through here. Typical November decent storm coming for the Pacific Northwest. This is what's the European as of last night showed. This is the 18,000 feet, and there went the system yesterday, the very last bits of it there, and you can see the next system rolling in here. And then we've got another system that's going to be hot on its heels as well. And we got to watch this one for late development also. It shows a weaker low, but it shows it kind of developing very close to the coastline. And I'll show you what I mean here in the sea level pressure map in a moment. Then you can see we get a little bit of a break next week before then the European will bring some additional systems in after that, but we may get a day or two break there as we go through next week. More on that here later. And this is looking at the European last night. Here goes our strong storm. I mean, look at that 977 millibar low up towards Haida Gwaii. Strong gradient across Vancouver Island and across some of the coastal areas here as well. So again, another good shot of wind coming in here very late tonight into tomorrow. And then this next system here, you got to watch these closely because this is kind of a late breaking wave. You can see it developing as it approaches the coastline. Got to be really careful here because this could pack a surprise punch of wind across some of the coastal areas as well. And depending on how fast and vigorous this thing dives inland, it does start to fill in the last couple slides of the European as of last night, which goes out 90 hours. So yeah, it's just something worth watching right now. But another blustery system could be bouncing in here as we go on in through the day Monday. Now, looking at Astoria, this is the NAM 3KM. So you can see tomorrow, early morning, the winds start gusting up 46 plus miles per hour and peak there somewhere around 4 a.m. on the NAM, about 52 miles per hour. Then you can see the blustery conditions continuing on in through the early afternoon. Portland, right around 38 miles per hour or so. And this is about 9 a.m. Saturday morning and remaining blustery for a little bit here. But you can see the wind's not going to be as strong in the interior sections of the Willamette Valley versus the coastal areas. Seattle, the NAM showing about 40 miles per hour, peaking about Saturday morning, but remain pretty blustery here as you go through the afternoon. You can still see 39 mile per hour gusts as you go on in through Saturday afternoon. Here we go with Hoquiam. Check it out. You can see some upper 40s showing up on the NAM 3KM. And this is the HRR, the high resolution rapid refresh. And you can see some gusty winds coming in as we go through the morning hours also. Maybe upper 30s towards 40 miles per hour for SeaTac, which would be a stronger windstorm than what happened yesterday. Whidbey Island, check it out. You could get some mid 40s here. Borderline wind advisory stuff here. I don't know if they're going to put one out or not. We'll see what the National Weather Service does, but you're starting to approach that 46 mile per hour wind threshold there, where you can start seeing some wind advisories from this system. Here we go, Seattle Metro, and this the European has been kind of underdoing some of these wind speeds on these most recent runs. The control run has about 29 miles per hour, but I think we're going to probably outdo that for sure, is what the high resolution models are showing, something different. And then you can see the next little bump there as that next storm system approaches the coastline as we go on in through the day Monday. Now, taking a look at significant wave height. You can see the Hawaiian Islands at the bottom left. You can see BC, Washington, Oregon. Let's put it into motion. We get a break as we're going through the day today, but those waves are going to increase as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning, eventually Saturday afternoon, especially across Vancouver Island here. So that storm's going to have a nice set of waves with it. And then you can see that next system bringing some towards the coastline as well. Then we get a little bit of a break here before some additional systems look to arrive on through the extended forecast. Now, looking at total precipitation in inches, this is last night's European control. It goes out 144 hours. So let's see. You can see the precipitation starting to come onshore here as we go through the afternoon and evening hours. Overnight, it's a pretty rainy period. I mean, look by the time you get to Saturday morning, you're looking at almost another inch for Seattle. Some bigger amounts across some of the Willamette Valley, the coastal range, Vancouver Island. So yeah, pretty wet system rolling in here. Then that one right behind it will roll in also. And you can see Seattle by the time you get towards Monday afternoon, over 2 inches. Some of the higher terrain, you're looking at 4+. Coastal range getting a great dousing of precipitation as well. And we really need it across the area. So this will be mostly beneficial. The soil is primed to really hold a lot of moisture on these first couple of rounds at least. And you can see the rain shadowing there across the areas of the northeast of the Olympic Mountains, across Whidbey Island and the San Juans as well. You can also see the rain shadowing, of course, as you go east of the Cascades. But as we scroll out to 144 hours there, you can see pretty impressive precipitation amounts incoming, with some for California even also. Now, taking a look at the GFS, let's see what it says. What does its timing look like? Well, you can see the precipitation moving on the coastline here again this evening and tonight. And by the time you get towards midnight, the precipitation will be coming onshore. Pretty rainy day for Seattle as you go through Saturday morning here. A little bit lesser amounts, maybe, I don't know, maybe 0.8 of an inch here by the time you go on towards tomorrow afternoon for Seattle. But again, you can see the rain shadowing effects there off to the northeast of the Olympics and, of course, east of the Cascades, which start to wane a bit across some of the higher terrain once you get a little bit further east of Blue Mountains there and some of the higher terrain of northern Idaho and eastern BC here. But big amounts incoming here for some of the coastal ranges over the next few days. And if we scroll out here towards Monday, you can see that next system roll in, put Seattle up towards 2 inches. Portland, probably something similar. And some of the coastal ranges probably getting 4 or 5 inches, maybe locally higher amounts. Let's scroll all the way out to 144 so we can kind of compare it to what we saw in the European. As you can see, the GFS bringing another system towards Pacific Northwest at that point. So we'll stop at 144. And you kind of see pretty good agreement there on the precipitation amounts. This is snow depth there. I just thought I'd bring this one up. And you can kind of see it's something interesting. I think this is something new because it shows, I think it's picking up some of the glaciers here across Mount Rainier. But anyway, you can kind of see the snow depth bounce back and forth here. We get maybe a nice shot of snowfall here with that system that rolls in Monday into Tuesday here. But then you can kind of see it melt this time of year. Pretty typical here. Once you pass the storm system through, you lose some of that snowpack here. Now, taking a look at this is freezing a level above sea level, so ASL above sea level. So if I put this into motion, you can see that warmer air start to move into the region as we go on in through today. So yeah, we're going to ride those snow levels here. Probably not much snowfall except for some of the higher peaks with this initial system here. But then you can see we cool down a bit. So maybe we'll bring some snowfall to some of the higher terrain as we go on into the early portion of next week. You see that freezing level start to drop back down. Fairly warm system initially here. 8 to 14 day temperature probability outlook. This is November 10th through 16th. Still got that above average signal here for much of the region and the above average precipitation signals. Looks like we're going to remain active and keep some storms going in here. Although we could have some breaks here, mainly mid next week, where we could get a day or two with no precipitation and no system rolling through here. And again, they continue to show this risk of high winds. We'll be watching it daily to try to see if any big windstorm is looming off into our future. Nothing right now, no region-wide windstorm on its way yet. But just remember, tonight and tomorrow morning are going to be pretty darn blustery and breezy for a lot of areas, including the coastal range here. So don't sleep on that system coming in tonight. Pretty powerful storm. This is looking at landslide conditions here, and you can see this covers places like Seattle, Everett, Seattle, Tacoma, and Tacoma Narrows. And if you guys know of anything like this for some of the Willamette Valley or any places in British Columbia, please let me know. This is the only one I know of here. And this red line kind of shows the threshold for landslides. And this is the 3-day cumulative precipitation here on the left axis. And you could see that once you get over 3.5 inches here, you start to bring some landslide potential. And right now, we're not dealing with that landslide potential. All the stations here are to the left of that red line, so we're doing okay. After this next couple of systems, though, we may start to get close to that, and it doesn't. Even if we're in periods of drought here, if you drop a lot of precipitation in a short amount of time, you can have some landslides. I mean, a lot of Seattle and the Seattle Metro and a lot of Western Washington have, really big changes in the topography here. And landslides are just part of the environment out here across a lot of Western Washington. And that's why they have this threshold for the occurrence of landslides out there, because it can be pretty devastating to some communities when these do occur. So it's something worth watching. And we got a lot of precip coming in here for the next few days. So we'll monitor this daily as we go from now on. But yeah, nice signal there on the infrared satellite imagery. I mean, you can clearly see the storm. The warm front is about here. It'll be moving on the coastline today. Cold front back here. Bent back occlusion. Gusty periods, especially across Vancouver Island and some of western BC with this storm as it rolls through. And the coast is going to get downright windy again. And this could be something similar to what happened yesterday across Seattle, Portland. You're going to get some nice gusts as well, upper 30s. So, you'll notice it as you go through the day tomorrow. But anyway, channel's doing good. We're up over 52,000 subscribers. Thanks for all my members. I can't do it without you, so much appreciated. So get out there and enjoy that weather. Watch this rain come through, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this system as much as I am out here. I'll probably go out there and try to catch some nice stormy November scenes here across the Pacific Northwest. But anyway, we'll do this again tomorrow. We'll check this storm system out as it's rolling in, and I will talk to you guys then.